Hi there, my name is Aaron Lanterman. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech, and I've been looking at devices that model guitar amplifier behavior using DSP, particularly the AXE FX3 by Fractal Audio Systems and the Quad Cortex by Neural DSP. I started to wonder about what's inside these machines and wondered if we as a community could develop something with equivalent power. Analog Devices has a really great press release on the Quad Cortex that lists the processor that's used in it as an ADSP SC589, and the Quad Cortex uses two of these. According to the Fractal Audio Wiki, the AXE FX3 uses two Keystone DSP chips in the TMS320C66 series, and you replace X with different numbers to get specific chips. Fractal Audio has also released a version of this that uses 1.25 gigahertz chips. The website for the FX3 mentions 4 separate processors, so I'm going to assume that each of the 2 chips has 2 cores. Now, this chip is available in 4-core and 8-core versions. I'm not sure why Fractal Audio didn't just use a single 4-core chip. I haven't looked at the actual release dates of the chips, but my guess might be that the 4-core and 8-core versions weren't available when Fractal Audio started development. That's just a guess, though. I can't find any official information on exactly what chip Fractal Audio uses, but reading some web forums, the general guess is that it's a TMS320C6672, and that seems plausible to me. Where in the world is that part I need? Do. The great search on DigiKey. Okay, so let's see. 1 gigahertz, 1.25 gigahertz. Let's see what we have here. 2 different price points, it looks like. 0 immediate, 0 immediate. Let's ignore those. Okay, so what's the difference between ACYP25 and ACYP825? Here we go. It looks like the A version works over a wider temperature range. So I don't think we're going to be using this in a nuclear reactor or on the moon, or in a nuclear reactor on the moon, so we can go ahead with the cheaper version. Of course, Fractal Audio is buying these in bulk, so it probably gets a better price than what you would get for singles off of DigiKey. But let's go with the DigiKey price for a second, just for sake of argument. So that's $386.70 in DSP horsepower. Now, that is the 1.25 gigahertz version of the chip, so let's click on Turbo. So that's 2499.99, and if I were to take this number here and divide it by 2499.99, so around 15% of what you pay for an AXE FX3 is the actual DSP horsepower. Of course, the device has a lot more stuff in it, and it's got this nice front panel and this nice case and all these knobs and switches, and it has, I think it's an XCOS-based 8-in, 8-out USB audio interface and other stuff. But a big portion of what you're paying for when you pay this price is the cost of making payroll so that the employees at Fractal Audio can eat, and a big chunk of it is the cost of algorithm development. Okay, so what about the Shark Plus chip used in the Quad Cortex? I couldn't find it at DigiKey, so let's try Mouser. All right, so we have 4 options to choose from. And let's see, this particular chip, I think it's available in 300, 450, and 500 megahertz versions or something like that. And I think the 5 at the end here indicates the 500 megahertz version. Let's see. Why is the 500 megahertz version cheaper? Anyway, let's suppose the Quad Cortex DSPs each use a $71 2-cent chip. And if I take that 142.04 and divide it by the cost of the Quad Cortex, that's 1849, I get 7.6. So it looks like about 8%, say, of the cost of your neural DSP device is the actual DSP horsepower. Of course, there's lots of other costs that go into the unit. You have to keep the lights on if you're running a company. And I will say I haven't actually got my hands on one myself, but the box that they made for that thing and the rotary encoders look to be really cool. So what about a homespun AXE-FX3 kind of device? You wouldn't want to try designing your own PCB and all of that. You would want to go with a dev kit. So there is a series of evaluation modules, and this is actually for the 8-core version of the chip. So theoretically speaking, this would be, I guess, twice as powerful as an FX3, although practical processing power rarely scales exactly linearly in the number of cores. Let's see, they make a bunch of variations of this. We probably don't need encryption. Not sure what the XDS560V2. Let's go with this bare bones module. Okay, so taking a look at this, the price is $500 basically, $499 technically speaking. It's got lots of stuff on it. The one thing that concerns me for our purposes is it doesn't look like it has any built-in analog to digital or digital to analog converters. If somebody knows otherwise, please leave a comment below. I haven't looked into it in too much depth. So we would need to add an audio codec of some sort. Since the AXE-FX3 uses XCOS processors for its USB audio interfacing, let's check out the XCOS website. Here we go. Here's a development board for the X-Core 200 multi-channel USB audio. How much is that on DigiKey? $352.82. Okay, so that's starting to add up. But this is a high-end solution. I think this is 8 in, 8 out. You could probably get away with some stereo codec and have a lot of fun. What about the Analog Devices neural DSP style path? So Analog Devices makes this easy light development kit. Oh look, it has a SD card reader slot. That's kind of nice. Anyway, scrolling down this a little bit, there's a few things here that particularly caught my eye as nice. One is that it has built-in analog to digital and digital to analog converters. So that helps a lot in making a turnkey solution. Let's see, that board is available for $645.98 on DigiKey. So that's more expensive than the TI board, but remember the TI board didn't have audio codecs built into it. Of course, we will need to add some sort of touchscreen display, and it might be a good idea to pick a few sizes and then standardize on a few particular implementations of each of those sizes. And off the top of my head, I'm not sure what kind of LCD displays are more easily interfaced with these DSP development board than others, so that's something to look into. Supporting a variety of screen sizes means that people could build smaller pedals to fit on their pedal board more easily, or they could build bigger desktop units or maybe rack units. And of course, we also need some control elements. I was thinking that maybe there could be a standardization of, say, 8 rotary encoders, and then individual units could use less encoders or something like that, depending on how much space you wanted your unit to take up on your studio desk or on your pedal board. And it doesn't have to be just guitar. Either of these kinds of DSP chips would make an amazing platform for synthesizers. Remember, these are generic DSP chips. With a little bit of recoding, theoretically, the AXE-FX3 could do all of the profiling that the Quad Cortex does. And the Quad Cortex could run all of the models that are in the AXE-FX3. If I was Neural DSP, I would be throwing a lot of money at Strymon to try to license their algorithms. Basically, I am hoping for an open source, modern day, updated Chameleon. So why can't we just have one massive, awesome DSP platform to rule them all? Notice I haven't talked about which DSP chip is more powerful because I'm not really sure. My guess is that the TI Keystone chip probably has more juice, but I don't know. If you have any ideas about that, please leave a comment below.